What's going on, YouTube? We're back at it for another video, and today we've got the best stash spots for the chemical plant over here. We got more than a few locations to hit, so let's get straight into it. The first stash location we're going to hit is going to be in the, southeastern portion of the chemical plant, just west of Zalicia. You'll just head straight over, and after you've gotten over the pontoon bridge, we'll need to head over here to the maintenance yard. And in here, we'll actually have two items, one stash spot over on our right, as well as a full durability weapon over here on our left, but let's head over there now. And once you make it over to the location, do be careful, as there will be one bloodsucker waiting on you, possibly some other enemies, but over here on the right in this container over here, or little trailer, is where we're actually going to need to grab our first piece of loot for the stash, but we'll need to come over to the back side of it, and we'll need to jump up and then shoot the door unlocked. Well, if you can get the shot right, sometimes it's a little bit more tricky than I'd like it to be. But eventually you get that shot in, and you'll be able to unlock this. Get inside here, and over here on our left is where we're going to get our loot. It's going to be a little bit of a stash right here with some resources, and over here on our left we've got the OZK Explorer's suit, which this one's not going to be all that great, but it will give you something for coupons. We'll just be selling that off to the vendor. Now we've got one other item that we'll need to go over and grab, so we'll head over to the left, go around the back, and we'll have some sheds over here, or little green ones. We'll need to pull out the trusty bolt for this, as there's going to be an anomaly we'll need to pop before we get in. But just back here, the second shed, we'll be able to walk right on in. And there will be a grenade trap right here, so do be careful. You'll need to disarm that beforehand, but we'll get some more resources and a full durability AKM 74U. Can't go wrong with that one, whether it's going to be for selling or possibly use later. Our next stash location is just going to be southwest of that location over here at the chemical tanks, and what we'll need to do is head towards the center of it, as there'll be a hole in the ground that we'll need to head over to, and good God, I've got a bloodsucker right on top of me, but let's head over there now. And once you made it over to the chemical plant, all we'll need to do is just head right on in. I'm going from the front entrance, or at least the northern entrance of this place, and we'll have some, we'll have some very different animals to deal with out here. I did not realize this was going to happen. Now, after you've taken down the multiplying little wolf dog, whatever thing you'd like to call this thing, it is a bit of a nightmare to deal with this, and hopefully you've got some healing supplies. Completely forgot about this thing when you first come in here, and it's possible sometimes you might not even have this. You may have a completely different entity. But from that point, we'll head over to the left on this little walkway over here that's a bit broken down, and we'll take the first right, and halfway down through here, we'll have the trusty old bolt out just in case. Almost thought I needed to light that guy up. But over here, about midway through, you'll notice we've got a little broken walkway over here on the left, a lot of debris, and a couple of grates on the ground. There'll be one hole in the ground over here, and do be ready, as there'll be some snorks down here that you'll have to deal with. I've already taken care of them to make things a little bit faster when it comes down to getting the loot itself. But we'll head all the way back here, and we've got our next stash spot right here, which is going to include a tactical pistol silencer, the UDP compact, and the extended high-capacity mag for the UDP, which could be useful for some people if you've been using the UDP. It's not a horrible weapon. Honestly, I should probably start using it, considering I have so much 45 ammo, and it can deal some pretty decent damage, but you can't go wrong with Skiff's pistol either. That Makarov just carries you through. I'd almost say you can complete the entire game on that Makarov. Wouldn't mind possibly doing that in the future as a challenge run, but we'll see. And once you've got all your loot down there, we'll just need to head on out this way over to our left, and then you'll also get some resources over here on the ground, which will just be some healing stuff, and then from that point we'll just walk right on out, and you'll be able to just jump over here to your right and go on the walkway on over to our next stash spot. Our next stash location is just going to be west of the chemical tanks over here at the motor depot, and we'll just need to head to the western portion of this in order to get into the crack of a wall just beyond this piping over here, but let's head over there now. And once you've made it over to the front entrance of the motor depot, we'll just need to head over here behind this pipe over here on our right, and then on our left we'll have a little hole in the wall that we'll be able to crawl through. Now, you'll have a bit of resources inside of this safe that we'll be able to grab up, but just behind that we'll have the PA7 gas mask sitting on the ground. Not exactly going to be the greatest thing of all time, but you can never go wrong with having a full durability piece of armor for possibly selling or upgrading in the future. But up to you at that point. Our next stash location is a little bit interesting, and it's going to be over at the chemical plant base. Now, if you have a playthrough like mine where you did not choose to side with the ward, this is going to be very difficult to actually grab up, and I randomly found this while I was assuming that I could actually completely destroy all of the ward members within this base, which is just not true. I came in with the glutton cut loose, and there was some enemies inside there with an exoskeleton suit that were taking 250 rounds of armor-piercing 7.62 ammo, and that's how much it ended up taking to their face in order to actually take them down. But you cannot fully eliminate them, but over here on the building over here on our left, you can run in there, you can kill some of the ward members and grab up this loot at a very high cost to you. It's going to be an extended or a high capacity magazine for the AR-416, which you can get this magazine elsewhere in Condor over there on the bottom right of the lesser zone. But if you want to grab this one up, we'll just showcase how you can get that done real quick if you're crazy enough to get it done like I was, or possibly if you're somebody that did side with the ward, this is something you can get early on in the game for a 50-round drum mag for the AR-416 very early on. But let's head over there now. Now, if you're like me and you didn't side with the ward, as soon as you get close to this gate, the second they get one sliver of your forehead in their line of sight, they are going to be aggroed on top of you, and they're going to start pouring out of this gate. By quite a few of them, not exactly a crazy amount, but there's going to be more than a few of them. Some of them are going to have LMGs with devastating ammunition that will just chew through your armor and your health bar. So do be careful pushing up here. There'll also be some that'll have a lot of armor on, so bring some type of armor-piercing ammunition. But once you've taken out the ones at the gate, from this point, we're basically going to be stimming and running. And we're going to try and make this as quickly as possible. And from this point, we're going to head up underneath these little barrels right here. As there's a sniper in front of us. You can try to take him out beforehand. We'll try to get it done at the end here as soon as we're close enough. As you'll notice, this time it wasn't a sniper, but we've got some guy with a machine gun. But some of these guys around here are like the most tanky person I can possibly imagine. We're going to keep stemming, preemptively stem real quick, and just keep running. We're going to stem again, and then just keep running. So bring a lot of stems for this one. We're going to keep stemming, keep running. We're going to head over to the left side, stem again. Since we've already taken that guy out, it's not going to be too much of a worry. We're going to stem one more time. And we're going up this ladder over here. And then we've got a long run to make from here over to our left. We're going to stem again, just in case. And then over here on our right is where we're going to jump. We'll stem one more time. Good measures. And then right over here is where we're actually going to have it. We've got that extended magazine and a couple of resources that we can grab up, as long with a Vinca for the bleeding. We're going to stem real quick and just make it on out of here. We'll just have to jump on back down, stem again, make sure that we're not going to die here, because we've got a lot of fire coming from all angles. Stemming again. It's a nightmare. Preemptively stem one more time, and then we'll be able to head down these stairs right here, and then stem again. And so we've got more than a few that are firing at us. It just gets wild inside of here. Stem one more time as we get closer towards the exit. So it's going to take a lot of healing. You can get it done. It's not the hardest thing in the world. We're going to pop a water real quick as we make our way out of here, and just try to get as far enough away as possible. Now, if you do this, sometimes if you do kill some of the enemies on the inside, it will basically make a buffer time where you will be locked out of certain main missions for like a couple of days. Like, you'll need to go rest, and then things will cool off between you and the ward, and it won't be as aggro. But that's how you're going to get the high capacity AR-416. If you sided with the ward, you can get that super early on, and that'll be a fantastic upgrade for you. But if you don't want to go through all that hassle and waste all those stems to get that and take the time to get that done, you can get it over at the Cordon location, and I've got a guide on that already up on the channel, so if you want to check that out for the 50-round mag without having to go through all this hassle if you haven't sided with the ward, that's there. Now, our next stash location is just going to be northeast of that at this gas station over here, and we'll head over there now. And once you've made it over to the gas station, this is going to be right in the hotbed of a ton of anomalies, so do be careful. But once we're over at the gas pumps themselves, over here on our left, we will have one of those whirlwind ones. There is an artifact back here if you want to pop out your scanner or detector and get that done, but what we'll need to do is head to the left side of the gas station to where this broken down ramp is, and we'll be able to easily just jump right on in here. And once we get inside, over on our left, inside of the freezer is actually going to be a M860 cracker. It's going to be a solid full durability shotgun right there, and on the left of that we'll also have some resources to grab up. Now this could be a random weapon spawn, so it may be different for you. I noticed more than a few people talking about they found certain full durability weapons of a completely different kind in the locations that I've found some of them, so you may end up getting something better, but overall it's going to be worth some credits or coupons and possibly something you can upgrade later on. As well as if you climb up all the way to the top, there is another little stash spot up here as well that you can grab up for a bit more of those resources. Now our next stash spot is where things get a little bit interesting. I was really pleased with finding this one over here at the central elevator just northwest of the actual gas station is where we're going to get our next two stash locations, one being up top and one also being over here on the little silos over here. But in order to access this, we'll actually need to head over here to the railroad tracks, and just over here next to this little, I guess, building and watchtower, but we'll need to start by heading over to this little tower next to the railroad, and let's head over there now. Now once you made it over to the train tracks, you'll notice we've got a building over on our right, but we'll need to come over to this little tower over here on the left first and pop that anomaly, as inside here on the window ceiling we'll actually get a door key to gain access to the building over on our right, and we'll get some loot over here on our right as well. Now we'll pop that anomaly yet again and then head right over towards that building over here. And this is when things start to get a little interesting. And I would highly suggest having at least 1 to 2 grenades for this, as it's just going to help clear some things out, and you'll see what I mean here in a moment. Now, if you don't want any spoilers with this one, you know, by all means take this moment to just go ahead with it yourself and have a little bit of fun. Try it out at least one time, unless you can't figure it out, and then come right on back to see how things go. But more than likely, this is one of those that experiencing it for yourself and figuring it out for yourself can sometimes be a bit more enjoyable than just watching it and knowing what to do beforehand. But now, we'll head right on in. And what we've got in here is going to be a portal, which is going to teleport us over. I'll have another one of those moments where everything seems like it's going to lock up, the game's going to crash, audio cutting out, but thankfully the game doesn't actually end up crashing my PC, and we're inside of the train cart over on our right. Now we've got more than a few anomalies in front of us, and you'll start to hear why I say you need a grenade for this. You may be able to get a grenade off of the guy over here sometimes, but not always is that loot going to be exactly what you'd want. Now from this point, we'll actually want to head over onto the edge railing of the train cart itself and start pushing forward. Now we do have an anomaly in front of us that we'll need to pop, so we'll need to head over here. And this is why I say you would likely want a grenade, so we'll just toss one in. I keep getting hit by that anomaly behind us, but now we've been able to blow that up, and we'll be able to push forward. Now on our right, we also have another anomaly. So we'll want to pop that really quickly. And then over here, we've got another spot where we can just toss a grenade and be able to blow up the next batch of mutants over here, which is pretty nice. That's why I say, you know, this is one of those, you know, you probably want to do your first time by yourself. Some of these moments are pretty cool in my opinion. I really enjoyed finding this one, but from this point we'll just start heading forward. I don't believe there's any more anomalies if we stay on the right side, and we'll be able to just jump right into the third trade cart. And now we'll be teleported again. The game will basically freeze up again and make me think that my PC is way too old for this game and that I need to upgrade immediately. And then next thing you know, we'll find ourselves on top of the actual place that I was showcasing to you as our next loot spot. Now that we're on top, we'll need to look towards the edge where we can actually jump down to, and make sure that you keep jumping on top of these little floaty things, as that's going to make sure that you don't end up taking any type of damage. And do be careful, it can throw you over the railing. Now over here you've got a little PDA that gives you a little bit of lore and information, but just inside the building is where we want to go in order to actually gain the loot for this area. Now the first thing that we're going to get is the PSZ-20W Convoy. Now not exactly the best armor in the world, but it's pretty decent if you haven't gotten something close to this. Maybe the chemical plant's one of your starting zones. If you've been with the ward, this wouldn't be too bad of a pickup early on. But beyond that, it's going to net you some decent credits with that full durability. Or coupons, I should say. and we'll have a safe just behind that. That's going to end up giving you a bit more of those resources down the line, so we'll grab up some of those healing products, and then from this point we'll be able to just grab up some more resources and then head on out this direction, jump over the side. Now, there is a side quest in this location, and I would suggest going down after you've grabbed that loot and getting that side quest, as it's going to net you more than a few coupons, and it's a pretty interesting side quest. I won't give any spoilers on it, but you'll be able to find that guy going in this direction over here. But what we'll need to do is head over here to the left on top of these silos, and we will have a hole in the floor over here and a second one, so pop that anomaly, jump on through, make sure you don't get shocked. And over here on our right side, we won't have any anomalies, but we'll be able to gain access to a blueprint inside of this chest over here. And basically this blueprint's going to give you the extended magazine that I have on my shotgun right now. This is going to allow you to go to any one of those technicians and make the cracker into something that has that magazine capacity to it, and give you the capability of having a much faster reload, and it benefits you in the long run, especially with dealing with some of those bloodsuckers. Now, if you want to know how to exit, we'll just head over here to our left and back the way that we came. We'll pop this anomaly in front of us, jump back across, then head over one more time, and then from this point, we'll head all the way back over here. We'll need to drop down this ladder over here, which is going to be extremely long, so do be careful with that one. We'll just push right all the way down. More than likely they're dealing with a bloodsucker over here. But then we'll be able to just jump straight down and then head right on out. And the way that you'll get over to the side quest is just over in this building right here. Our next stash location is going to be northwest of the central elevator over here at the Prom Factory, or Prom, however you'd like to say it. Over here, inside, on top of the buildings is where we're going to find our next stash, and then, oh my god, I'm getting attacked by rats. But let's head over there now. Now, once you made it over to the Prom and dealt with all the rats that may have snuck up and started attacking you during your conversation, you'll need to head towards the silo itself. This is going to be one of the easiest routes to go and grab the actual safe on the rooftop. And then we'll head over here into this little alley, and on our right, we've got a ladder that'll get us on top of the roofs. And then from this point, we'll jump over to our left. Now, do be careful. There's more than a few of these flame anomalies up top here. You can get an artifact. Mine, for whatever reason, apparently is spawning on the outside edge of the rooftop. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you. But if it does, there's plenty of other spots to farm some of these artifacts. But from this point, we'll head up this ladder over here onto the left to one of the highest roofs over here. And in the right corner, we'll actually have a little safe that we'll be able to grab up our next piece of loot, which is going to be the rubber layer for the LAVINA, dampening some of that recoil and giving us a bit more capabilities with that. Now, do be careful, as there is a poltergeist ghost over here, and it may start picking things up. Thankfully, there's nothing on this rooftop, but there will be a poltergeist ghost over here on the right side, and we'll be able to get down by just heading on over here, jumping down here, and there'll be another little stash spot down here that we'll be able to grab some resources from. Our next stash location is going to be southwest of this location at the Prom Research Institute. Over here, there will be one item we'll be able to grab up in the main building, and I would highly suggest coming with a shotgun, some expansive rounds, or just enough ammunition to deal with more than a few bloodsuckers, as this area seems to be bloodsucker central, and there's going to be more than a few of them that you'll need to deal with. So be prepared with some healing products and plenty of ammunition in that shotgun. And once you made it over to the Prom Institute of Research, or whatever the name was, old Prom over here, we'll just need to head straight on in after you've killed some of those bloodsuckers, and inside the main building over here on the left is where we're going to head. We'll need to pull out the trusty old bolt, as there's more than a few of these electrical anomalies back here we'll need to deal with. But once we pop that, we'll head over here to the right, and just inside of this bag over here, we'll end up getting the PA-10 gas mask. Now, again, this one's not exactly one of the greatest gas masks, but over here is something that you can grab up, very lightweight, and a good bit of coupons from that full durability gas mask that we'll be able to gain from selling this off at the vendor. Our next stash spot is just going to be south of this location, across the river over here at the Toxic Bog. Now, this place has a lot of those bubbles that will pop, or a bit of that chemical damage inside of here. You will be able to get an artifact, but it's also going to be filled with just chemical gas everywhere, so you're going to end up taking damage over here. So I'd highly suggest coming in with a few of those med kits just to run on in and be able to grab this and then head on out. But let's head over there now. Now, once you've made it over to the location, you'll notice we've got a lot of that chemical whatever you'd like to call it, just floating in the air along with those bubbles. And over here on our left, just behind this bubble over here, that's the safe we're looking to get over to. Now, one of the fastest ways that we're going to be able to do that is, you'll notice we do have a good bit of water over here. We're going to come over here on the right and kind of walk along this edge over here. We'll get a good bit of that burn coming in. We'll be able to just kind of bob and weave through there. And we're going to take minimal damage. And inside here, we've got the ARAMID lining for the ballistic helmet, giving us a bit more of that protection from shrapnel and bullets. So we'll just grab that up really quickly. And if you want to get the artifact, good God, I'm stuck. You can just pop out your detector and start looking for that yourself, but we'll just head right on out and over to our next stash location. And one thing to mention before we head on to the next stash location is that over here at the Bloodsucker Village, you can end up getting another stash location that will end up spawning over here, but you'll need to talk to a guy inside of here that you'll need to complete the side quest in order for it to unlock over at that Riverside, because I thought I would be able to grab it up for this video, but it turns out you'll have to do the side quest for it to actually spawn over here. And I'll tell you right now, it's not the easiest side quest. I'm not going to spoil anything. By all means, you can head over there, probably say save before you head over there and try it out. But bring an RPG is about the only thing I could possibly give you as a hint or some type of helpful tip to trying to complete that side quest. Beyond that, good luck, have fun. Our next stash location is going to be northwest of the Toxic Bog, over here on the northern portion of the shore over here next to this river. Underneath this sunken barge over here is where we'll find our next stash spot, but let's head over there now. Now, once you made it over to the location, you may have a couple of zombies to deal with, so just take them out pretty quickly. But the big item that we're actually going to be picking up over here is just a random artifact that'll be floating next to this body over here next to the shrine. And then we'll be able to loot some of those bodies. But that's all we'll be grabbing up over here. And don't stick around for too long, as this is one of those psychic anomaly locations. So there could be one of those anomalies where you start getting some of those random enemies popping up that'll just turn invisible or disappear after you've killed them. Now, our next stash location is just going to be south of the roofed warehouse over here at the military tunnel. So what we'll want to do is go from the roofed warehouse or the road over here all the way down until we get to this entrance to the tunnel over here and then head on in. But let's head over there now. And once we made it over to the location, we'll have a couple of electrical anomalies at the entrance. We'll just pop those real quick, but then we'll immediately pull out the shotgun, get the flashlight on, and we've got a couple of snorks we'll have to deal with once we get on to the deeper portion of the inside here, right next to the actual stash spot, but we won't see them just yet until after this little train cart right here. Now, you can technically sit inside of the train cart and kind of shoot them from the doorway if you don't want to get a, face to face with these guys. They don't particularly have the best available, or I guess best way of climbing into something like this, considering they are pretty irritating to deal with most of the time, especially when they're just kind of all over the place. Can be quite frustrating to deal with them sometimes, but thankfully the shotgun deals with them pretty easily. But over here on the right side, you'll notice we've got the safe that ends up giving us the blueprint for the protective coating for the exoskeleton, giving us a Faraday cage. Coating operates akin to a Faraday cage due to its small size and inherent limitations. The suit can only offer protection for a short period of time. So I believe this is something for electrical protection. I believe that's what it ends up being, but it's something you can just end up upgrading that exoskeleton in the long run. We'll grab up some of those resources, and from this point, we'll actually be able to head over to these other train carts as well, jump on top of them, and get another artifact over here, which is going to give us the slug. There might be some more of those snorks, I don't know. But from this point, over here on the left side is where we'll be able to exit and head towards our next stash location. There's where the other snorks are going to be. Goodness. Every single time. They're just all over the place. Let's hope we can just finish this guy out pretty quickly. Got that one down. We've got another one. Look at him. He's like Spider-Man coming in. We'll finish this guy out pretty quickly. Yep, should be about 3 rounds when they're that close. But from that point, we'll head deeper on into side of here. And then we'll actually be able to exit right at our next stash location. Our next stash location is going to be the army warehouses, which if you've gone through the video one by one, you're more than likely already here, but there's going to be 2 pieces of loot that we'll need to grab up over here. One at a tower just over here in the dead center, and another over at the building on the left side of that, or to the south of that tower's location, over here at the hard-to-find stash. But let's head on over there. And once you made it over to the location, the tower we're going to head over to is the one over in the dead center with the giant antenna on top. Now, if you come through the tunnels, you'll just head over to the left through the crack in the fence over here, or the wall, I suppose, and we'll just need to head over to that tower. Now, if you're somebody that's been looking for a marksman rifle with a decent scope on it, oh god, we've got some of those rats, then this is more than likely going to be a huge benefit for you, especially if you've come through here early on. This might be a substantial upgrade for you. The problem with grabbing this up early on, though, is you more than likely won't have a lot of 308 ammunition, so you may want to use this sparingly. But late game, you more than likely grab up more than a few rounds of that 308, and we will have a bit over here on the right. And inside here, we'll have the Mark I EMR. Now, I'm not personally one of the biggest fans of this weapon. It's not bad, it does have high damage to it, and it is substantially going to be dishing out some of that damage towards some of those heavily armored targets. But overall, the number one thing that's best in slot about picking up this weapon in particular is the sight on it. I love this ACOG sight. I love the pinpoint nature of that arrow going up, because I can't stand the 2x sight that I've been able to buy up from some of those vendors previously that I put on something like my Fora. It just way too bulky of a sight, all that plastic around the edge, and then the circular dot on the center just doesn't feel as pinpoint as that arrow does in certain moments when I'm trying to hit certain targets at a distance. So with this Mark I EMR, it's got that benefit right there. Getting a little bit of recoil control on this upgraded later on, a technician would be highly advised. But overall, if you're looking for something for that long distance type of play and really making the most amount of damage out of each one of those shots without being a sniper rifle, this is going to be something that'll be right up your alley. But from that point, we'll be heading over to the building over here to our left, so we'll just head on down that ladder. Seems like we've got some enemies going on down here, or possibly some rats. But we'll just head down the second ladder and then over to our next stash location. Now from that point, jumping off the ladder over here on our right, we'll just head on over, and what we'll need to do is actually jump on top of this truck first in order to get inside this building. Then from this point, we'll just jump over onto this little railing over here, or I guess, I don't know what to call it, honestly. And we'll jump into the window over here, turn on our flashlight, and over here on our left, we'll need to turn on the power. Now from this point, this will actually open up the locked door right here for us, and we'll be able to go downstairs and then head over to our left. And you'll notice we've got a keypad over here with a locked room. This is going to be our stash location. Good God, those rats, every single time. Now the code that we're going to put in is going to be 069 giggity 0, and then we'll be able to get inside here. Now over here on the left, we will have the PSZ-12V BULAT armor. Now this is going to be something that will be substantial upgrade for a lot of people early on, especially if you went with the ward side of things and came over here early. This is going to be something that will give you a good bit of protection early on, as well as 4 slots for artifacts, 9 kg on it. Not too bad, but it's got decent radiation protection and some of the elemental protections, but the physical protection on top of that, you really can't go wrong with this piece of armor, especially early on. Now inside of here, we will also have a good bit of resources and loot to grab up, so do keep in mind, or do take the time to grab up all these resources, as they're going to come in handy later on. But let's head over to our next stash location. Now our next stash location is just going to be west of this location. I thought this one was really cool. This is probably the coolest stash I've come across so far, and it's just west of the gate itself. We'll come out over here, and you'll notice there's like a little tiny silo over here, a little grate right here, and then I've already got the stash marker over here for myself for the old stash, just in case. You'll have this if you've actually run by this. You may not have noticed it, but we'll be heading over to this little spot over here just west of the road itself. But let's head over there now. And once you've made it over to the location, you'll know you'll be at the right spot if you see that little triangle over here on the right. But over here we'll have a dead body, and then we'll be able to pick up a couple of grenades. Now we'll actually grab up one of the grenades and we'll just toss this in here. Now I'll give you a moment to just do this for yourself if you want to see it for yourself. It's pretty cool. I really liked this. This was my favorite stash so far, and I hope I find more that are similar to this style. But we'll give you a moment to just be able to hit that left trigger and toss this in and see it for yourself before showcasing it. But now we'll get it done ourselves. So we'll just toss that grenade in, watch that fly on down there. Then you'll notice we've got a secondary explosion, and then it blows open the other silo over there. And then that'll give us access to the loot over here. And we'll open this one up, and inside here we'll actually get another unique weapon called the Trophy. I believe this one's the AS LAVINA instead of the actual VS Ventar. And this is going to be a pretty powerful weapon if you're looking for that full auto VS Ventar style with that 20 round magazine on it, fast firing style, and a bit swift, especially with that red dot on top. I do really enjoy this one, and it might be a good time for more than a few people out there. Now our next stash location is going to be northwest of that location of that previous stash, over here at the Prominence CMD factory. We'll just head over to the building on the right, and we'll be starting at the entrance on the right as well from the eastern portion, but let's head over there now. And once you made it over to the location, we'll just head straight on in, turn on our trusty flashlight, and then head over to the left, as we'll need to head inside this room over here to get to the stairwell, and this will just lead us all the way up. We'll just keep going up. And we'll just make our way up to the top over here, and what we're going to need to do is just head across over to the other end of it. And from this point we'll have more than a few electrical anomalies, so we'll need to pop out our bolt. There's a couple of resources you can grab up inside of this room as well, but we'll have another staircase going up, and then we'll have a bunch of boxes in front of us that we'll need to break down. So we'll just quickly destroy those really fast, and we will have a grenade trap right there as well, so do be careful of that. But from this point, we'll be able to head on out, and then on the other end of this room is where we're going to find our next stash location, which is going to include the Mercenary suit. Now this one is a bit of a disappointment after climbing all this way up to the top, as it's not exactly the greatest thing, but we will end up getting some coupons for this, so it's something we can just grab up on our way through and be able to sell this off later. So at the end of the day, it's just more coupons in the pocket. Now our final stash location is going to be at the Stetchunka location, or village, or tiny little town, neighborhood, whatever you'd like to call it. Over here at Stetchunka, we've got more than a few portals, and we're going to be jumping through 2 of them in order to get our last and final stash spot. But over here on the southern portion of the town, or southeastern portion, we've got a broken house, and that's where we'll be starting, but let's head over there now. Now when you make it to the location, you'll know you'll be at the right spot if you see a couple of those portals hanging around, and over here on the left hand side of this broken house is the first portal we'll need to take. We'll just head into the middle of it, head up to the ceiling or attic, and then be able to jump onto the roof and straight into the portal. And find ourselves in another situation where we feel like that 2070 Super is struggling, and next thing you know the PC feels like it's outdated. We're looking like we're going to crash, the audio's out, we're in a void, an isolation tank, whatever you'd like to call it. And we'll find ourselves in a garage. Now over here on our left on the back of this car, we'll get a boiler house stash location. This is just giving you a bit of foresight in the future for another stash location if you wanted to grab that up for yourself at some later point, or if you were able to get it done now. But from that point, we'll be able to open up the door from the garage, open it up, and then find ourselves right outside the actual portal we'll need for the final stash location. Now, there's an anomaly in the middle that can be troublesome to getting to this portal. Sometimes, if you jump into it, it'll immediately just push you into the portal, but it's very inconsistent in getting that done. We'll want to pop it, though, as the best way to get this done consistently is jumping into this little window spot right here, up onto the outside edge, and doing a little bit of that platforming, popping that anomaly along the way. That way, anytime that we jump over from each one of these spots, we won't end up having one of those moments where it might be able to pull us in, as that can happen. And over on our left, we've got another anomaly. And before we jump into this portal, I have to make this known. You need to immediately start looking down as soon as you're outside and you can see anything, and then try to find the cushion on the ground. Anytime that we've had one of those moments where you've been dropping down from a high location and you see that anomaly with floating rocks, look for that and try to move towards it, because you can end up dying going through this portal by just landing on the ground, as we will just end up floating in the air. But let's pop that anomaly and jump right in. Find ourselves in another one of those situations where the game looks like it's going to crash, the audio cuts out, things aren't looking too good, but then we'll finally find our way back into the game itself, and then we're immediately want to look down, ooh, I'm telling you, sometimes it's one of those moments where you just don't know. But our final stash location is going to be to the left of these little floating rocks, and if you don't look down and kind of like push yourself to the left or the right, you may end up missing this and then immediately just splattering on the ground. But over here on our left, we've got a full durability APSB on the ground with some ammunition as well as some resources. But that's going to be it for the stash spots for the chemical plant. Bit of a nice little ending right there with the portal, just giving a bit of that intriguing type of final stash location. Hopefully this has helped you out, especially if you're somebody that sided with the ward. A good bit of this could be some of that early content that you can grab up for yourself and just have a nice little boost when it comes down to the early game portion of it. But let me know down in the comments below if there's anything that I've missed. I'll be making a video later on some of these spots that I may have missed, or possibly some of those that may be associated with side quests, and do a little compilation of anything across the entire regions. That would be some nice little finish up for once we finished all of these best stash spot location videos. But hopefully you've enjoyed, it's helped you out, and if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to see some of this content live, hit that link down in the description below. Follow me over at Twitch, we'll be streaming daily. And on that note, have a good one.